3 fight predictions coming your way. Plus, we are going to find out soon enough who the baddest man on the planet is at UFC 155. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Welcome back, everybody. Eric and Jeff here with you, as always, to break down what's going down in MMA. This time around, we're going to be predicting UFC 155. Jeff, what's going on in that card?
Well, UFC 155 takes place December 29th in Las Vegas, Nevada, and it will be a rematch between the defending heavyweight champion, Junior Cigano dos Santos, versus Cain Velasquez. Also, we're going to be predicting Joe Lauzon versus Jim Miller and Alan Belcher versus Yushin Okami. So let's start off strong, Eric. Alan Belcher, Yushin Okami. How do you see that fight going down?
You know, this is going to be an interesting fight. You know what I mean? Alan Belcher, I mean, a lot of people are actually really starting to see him come along now. Just recently, he had an amazing win, I thought, against Rousimar Palhares, who is very much known as a leg lock specialist. Not only did he beat Rousimar Palhares, beat him at his own game. Actually went into dark waters, got in a bad position a bunch of times, about to get submitted, but was able to defend, eventually get top mount and start raining down punches on Rousimar Palhares and winning that fight via TKO. So in this fight, also Yushin Okami, though, you know, he's been training with Chael Sonnen. He's got really good wrestling. He's been looking bigger, stronger. So it's going to be really interesting, especially since the odd makers actually do have Yushin Okami as just a slight favorite in this fight.
The problem is, Yushin Okami, before his last fight, he was on a 2-fight losing streak. He lost to Anderson Silva, obviously the greatest fighter in the world, so we're not going to knock him for that. But he also lost to a comeback from Tim Boesch. Tim Boesch was actually getting beat very badly by Yushin Okami. Yushin used some strong wrestling, used strong strikes, but Tim Boesch was able to come back in the 3rd round and get Yushin against the fence, just land some uppercuts on him and drop him. Which shows me that Yushin Okami, maybe he doesn't have the strongest chin in the world, which does concern me because Alan Belcher's a pretty good striker. He's got good Muay Thai, he's got good striking, he's got good kicks. So I think if Alan Belcher wanted to keep this fight standing, I think he could. We're obviously going to see Yushin Okami try to take him down, maybe do some ground and pound like he always does, but I don't want to count out Alan Belcher. I've always counted him out in the past, but he always seems to prove me wrong. He's always winning every time. He's just amazing. I think Alan Belcher will finish Yushin Okami in the 2nd round.
Really? How?
I don't know. Leg lock, submission, I don't know.
Yeah, you know, that's an interesting thing. We're seeing a lot in MMA nowadays. You know, we're getting a lot of really good wrestlers with good jiu-jitsu. And what's happening a lot of times is guys who have really good wrestling are able to take down guys with good jiu-jitsu and just avoid submissions. I think that's what a lot of people think is interesting in this fight. So no, I don't think it's a mystery to anyone that Yushin Okami is going to try to take down Alan Belcher. The main thing from there is he going to try to defend the takedown, try to get back up, or is he going to try to actually work a submission off of his back? Should be a really interesting fight. I do think, though, that Yushin Okami is going to win via 3-round decision, but I wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I think it'd be pretty awesome if Alan Belcher did win that one as well.
Yes. A lot of people have been screaming for Alan Belcher versus a Michael Bisping or an Anderson Silva, so yeah, maybe we'll see that soon.
Yeah. Next up, we are going to be breaking down the co-main event of the evening, which is actually Joe J-Lo Lauzon, interesting name, versus Jim Miller. Should make to be a really interesting fight. Jeff, how do you see that one going down?
Well, Jim Miller, Joe Lauzon's a very interesting fight in the very fact that both of these guys have great jiu-jitsu. They're very, very skilled on the ground. Joe Lauzon, I might give a slight advantage on the jiu-jitsu department. Wrestling, I'll give it to Jim Miller. But these guys are so exciting. Joe Lauzon has so many fight of the night bonuses. I think Jim Miller's a really exciting fighter. Him and his brother are always exciting. So I think this should be a really good fight. I actually give Joe Lauzon the advantage because he has great boxing. I don't know if Jim Miller can maybe stand with him. I think he could probably keep it on the feet, but I think he's going to want to take Joe Lauzon down. And Joe Lauzon has great jiu-jitsu, so does Jim, so they might cancel each other out. I'm going to see this fight go into a decision, but a very exciting barn burner. I'm actually predicting that it's going to be super exciting, fight of the night, possibly overshadowing the main event because everyone likes to see the small guys scrap. How do you see that going down?
You know, I think what you said is right on point. You know, J-Lo is a really interesting fighter. He's got a ton of fight of the night bonuses. Jim Miller's no pushover either, though. I mean, even though J-Lo, you know, did recently get knocked out by Showtime Pettis, unfortunately, which was just a bad head kick. Yeah. You know what I mean? Who's not going down by that, you know? You know, Jim Miller, an amazing fighter. When you really look at his record, I mean, he's only lost to guys who have either been champions or have also, you know, or have fought for the belt. So I think it's going to be a really interesting fight. I do think Jim Miller's going to win. I just really don't know how. I think I can totally see him either submitting. I don't see him knocking out. I do see him either submitting or winning via decision.
Awesome. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Joe Lozon. I'm going to go with a second round TKO or a knockout.
Really? Interesting.
And now for the main event of the evening, the rematch between Junior Dos Santos and Cain Velasquez. Eric, the first time Junior and Cain Velasquez fought was over a year ago for UFC on Fox 1. Cain Velasquez was coming off of a long layover injury due to a shoulder injury. And then Junior Dos Santos tore his meniscus in his knee about 12 days before that fight. So they were both kind of rusty going into that fight. But we all know what happened. It ended pretty quickly. We saw that Cain Velasquez could not take Junior Dos Santos down, and Junior was able to capitalize using the best striking in the division, his boxing. How do you see that going down?
You know, that was a really interesting fight. That was the very first UFC on Fox, I believe. I remember even Dana White being a little surprised that it ended that quickly. Even though it was interesting because, I mean, a lot of people weren't very surprised. I do even remember the first press conferences, a lot of people actually asking Cain Velasquez, you know, in that fight against Czech Congo, you got rocked more than a few times. How are you going to handle the punches of Junior Dos Santos, who many believe to hit even harder than Czech Congo does? And personally, I think it's going to be the same story in this fight. You know what I mean? I think Cain Velasquez, you know, awesome fighter, great striking, great Muay Thai, great wrestling. Unfortunately, I wouldn't say he has a glass jaw, but I mean, I do believe he is susceptible to being rocked and getting knocked out. And unfortunately, that's not the kind of thing you want to have against a guy like Junior Dos Santos. You know what I mean? So personally, I believe it's probably going to be, I'm predicting the same thing as the first fight. I really believe it's going to be knockout. First round, maybe second round, but honestly, I don't even see this thing getting out of the first.
Junior has not only never been taken down, he's got great hips and everything, he's never been taken down, but now he just got his black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so maybe if he does get taken down, we'll finally get to see what his ground game is like. We won't think that he's a slouch on the ground. But he's so good on the feet, he's so good at staying up on the feet that he's just so exciting to watch. You just don't even care like if he's on the ground or not. He's just so exciting. I think it's going to be a repeat. I think Cain is really going to try to attack those legs, leg kicks, try to take him down as fast as possible, because the longer this fight goes, Cain Velasquez actually might have an advantage cardio-wise. But I think it's going to be ended just as quickly. Maybe not first round, maybe second round. I think Junior Dos Santos is going to find that opening again. And, you know, experience does mean something, especially when you've already beaten someone. I think you're going to be confident going into the rematch knowing that you already beat him. You shouldn't have to worry again. So I think Cain Velasquez should be the one that's worried. So that's my prediction. Junior Dos Santos, knockout, second round, just like the first fight. That's it. That's all she wrote. Junior Dos Santos, baddest man on the planet in the division. Thanks so much, everyone, for tuning in to What's Going Down in MMA. I know we've been gone for a long time, but we are back. This is the last show of 2012, and we're going out with a bang with UFC 155. Make sure to check it out on pay-per-view December 29th. Also, check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/whatsgoingdowninMMA. Also, follow us at Twitter at GoingDownMMA. Eric and Geoff, as always, to break down these fights for you. We'll see you next time.